Hey y'all, how's it going? Welcome to our new series, Architectural Adventures. So for this series, I'm in a creative world. We have this map around us here, and we are just going to start building new buildings. Most of the buildings will be directly inspired of and mimicking pictures of real life buildings. Some of these pictures I personally took myself, but most of them will likely be just from the internet of really cool looking buildings that I've come across either recently or just in the past, and I've just had these photos for a while. So for this first episode, we are going to be building this cool house. I think it's a house. I can't really tell. If it is a house, it's very much like a manor, but I don't remember where I got this photo from, so I couldn't tell you what this is in real life. And that's probably going to be the case for most buildings, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm excited to try to build this in Minecraft. As you can see here, I cleared out some trees over on that plot there, and that is where we'll be building our manor. So based off of the picture we have, I think I want to try to build this as a 21 by 21 square. As you can see, it's very symmetrical across all four sides, and I have no frame of reference of what the inside looks like, so we can try to get a little creative by that, but based off the size, I don't know how much room we'll actually have to do such, but let's give it a try. We primarily have a lot of white, so for a palette, let's try stripped pale oak, and we're going to need stairs. Now, as you can see, there's a bit of there's some kind of bar or like beam underneath the windows. So for that little detailing, let's try planks, and we're going to need stairs for the entryways. That looks a little rougher, a bit more dirt and grime on it, so let's actually try polished diorite, and if we want, maybe we can use regular diorite. Let's start with just the building the foundation here. Now we need to do the molding around the window. This will be tough. These types of moldings are always tough because in the picture they're really flush with the wall. They're jutting out maybe like a couple inches, but unfortunately we have to jut out an entire block, and that just makes it look clunky, especially at such a small size. So let's give this a try. So we put that like that. And some like this is very simple, but again, we're working on a small scale, so we're doing what we can. All right, so this looks extremely bad right now. So I think we might as well start adding in the main attraction, which is the entryways with the big stairs and the columns. So I think based on the picture, the floor looks a bit gray, so let's just do classic stone. Maybe let's do clay, actually. Stands up better than stone. So it looks like where the pillars are lining the floor there, it's actually a different shade of color. So let's take this as an opportunity to expand the palette a bit. Maybe this bone would look nice. Actually, no, forget that, because we should use the bone for the columns themselves. I think that'll look really cool. Maybe calcite. Let's try that. Okay, cool. I will say it is a shame for this build specifically that I happen to choose a build that's widely just the color white. When we get to the ceiling or the roofs, that'll add a little bit more, but other than that, it's gonna be a lot of white, so bear with me, because here's something interesting. I just noticed the edges like that here are not extensions of the wall, but they're actually pillars themselves, like that. By the way, I love the sound of placing a bone block. It's so cool. All right, and then let's see, we have that middle one that is left empty. So then we have just 4 in between. So how do we want to do this? Maybe, I mean, I guess this fits fine. Next to all the other white, the bone block looks a bit yellow, but I think we'll live. Okay, in my experience with these roofs, I think it's best to do it with slabs rather than stairs because you get a lower angle rather than a steeper one. So that means the height is brought lower. All right, so what we're dealing with the roof is, looks like some kind of terracotta, and we have mixes of brown, red, and like a tinge of green going on. So that's pretty interesting for what we can do. I guess what we could do is some exposed copper, but that's a little too red, so let's not do that. Mud brick slabs seems like a good candidate. That's a bit too brown though, too light in color. Tough has a tinge of green to it, so I think that could work. If we do the tough slab, that'll kind of replicate the tiles. So I think let's try the tough slab, not polished or anything. Okay, so thankfully we actually have an out when it comes to these pieces of wood sticking out of the roof to cover up the backdrop. And that's because this build happens to have statues positioned up the roof right in front, like with a little bit of gap, so as if one block in front of it is the tiles, and then you have the statues, and so these places can be our pedestals for said statues. There we go. We got a whole bunch of statues now, and it looks like the white places are spots that are meant to be there, so that's great. Okay, so now that we have this, it's time to build the stairs just right in front of it. For this, we have like a really dirty top. So for that, let's use pure diorite slabs, but then underneath it, we just have the regular white that we can use. Here's the deal. We're building in a world, not on a super flat, because I wanted to incorporate the buildings into the landscape around us, and it's not, you know, just an ethereal void. And in the spot we chose, we had enough space for the building, but the stairs are quickly falling off. So I think what we want to do is have the stairs actually go down to flat ground down here, reach all the way down. If we don't like it, we can cut it off, but let's give it a try, see what we think. All right, and so this is our entryway. I think that looks relatively good, all things considered. Statues are a little cluttersome. Alright, I think that makes it better, even if the white is exposed. That'll do. I'm also not loving the diorite here, especially because it matches that too well, so let's actually try quartz and see what we think. Okay, that's much better. The diorite was way too gray. Alright, and this is the entryway. I like it how it is. I think we're good on design. So now all that's left to do is to replicate it on all 4 sides. Now, when it comes to these 2 sides, clearly we're hitting up against a hill. So I might make adjustments to that. But this side, definitely we can replicate it 1 for 1. Now that that's replicated, we have all 4 sides symmetrically aligned. Like I said, the stairs got a little snubbed on these 2 sides, but other than that, it's looking really nice. I even added the little bushes and the black border that's outlining the sides here. And this is really the main part of the building. All that's left now to do is the roof, and if you look, it's very straightforward. We do have that dome at the top, which we'll get to, but until then, we just have slanted roofs going all the way up. We do have 2 tiny chimneys on one side, and you can see in the background, maybe you can see it, there's another chimney poking out there. So it's symmetrical, but it's symmetrical only on 2 sides, not all 4. Alright, with the roof done, it's time to move on to the interior. I think the exterior is as good as we can get it. We could always terraform some land, but that'll be at the end. So let's move on to the inside. I put down this layer of black concrete just as an underflooring. There's a little bit of a gap down here, but I didn't think it was necessary, and for what I want to do, it'll be easier just to have 1 block underneath it to fill in everything. In terms of the overall structure of the interior, I'm not the best at interiors, and hopefully throughout the series this will improve over time, my ability to do interiors, but point being is don't expect much. Now, when it comes to this building in particular, this is very tricky because it's very symmetrical with entrances on all 4 sides, which means we're kind of having a T-shape going on in terms of hallway. So I'm thinking we do 3 rooms, 3 in each of these corners, and then in one of the corners we'll have a staircase to go up to the 2nd floor. Alright, inside the room, I have this idea for a pattern. Let's see if it looks good or not. So we have something like that, and then we can just fill in this here. Okay, I think that looks good. It's like interesting enough. I don't know. It'll give it some depth. Okay, this is the floor pattern. It's a little dark in the center, but we'll eventually get some lighting once more of the walls are built up. Now for the walls, I don't know why, but I just gravitated towards like this light gray and dark gray terracotta, kind of as like tans and browns. So let's use that for the wall, because I want to juxtapose the white on the outside, because the whole outside is white, so we have to add some color in here, but not too much color. We don't want to completely desaturate it. So what if we design a wall like this, and this will go up to here. Alright, I threw on some night vision just to help us see a bit. Now I want this to be the primary, and we'll have doors on both sides of the room. Alright, and then I want to splice in some of the darker gray. We can of course put it like that for the corners. But I do want to figure out a good way to mix it in. So let's see what we can do. What if we make this bordered? What if we make this hash across like this? And then up like this. Alright, not too bad. I think that's better, having that border on the top. Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but it's something. It's got a little detail to it. So I'll stick with that design for now. All right, we have our 3 rooms. Now we have this spot here that'll be left open for a staircase. And let's fill in the floor for the second floor. Now, I kind of want to do a different design than this floor here, just so it's not like the floor matching the ceiling. So let's try a classic spruce and dark oak stripped floor pattern. How do we want to do this? So that and that. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, what do we think of this pattern? It's kind of goofy, I gotta say. I don't know, it feels like, for some reason I'm getting like a 70s vibe from this. It was not my intention, but it kind of just shaped out that way. Oh well, let's just throw it on like that. Let's just keep it simple for now. Platform like this, and then we raise it up in this direction here. Like that. I don't want to clip the head here actually, so let's carve out a little more for the stairwell, like that. Alright, so this. Now we have a cool dynamic staircase entryway like that. And I think we'll just close this off. I think there's something more we can do here, but I'm not sure what. What if we tried the shelves? Let's give it some dark oak shelf. Like that, maybe? Although I can't do it on this side. Oh, here's an idea. We circumvent the problem altogether by putting this post here. And then have this go down. And we have that. Boom. Okay, cool. I do like that. It's a lot better. Adds a sort of flair to it. Alright, now when it comes to this upper level, what if we were to do that? And then, would it look good to do this in a pattern? So you had 3x3 surrounded by these chiseled tuff. I think not. Although maybe what we could do is take standard tough brick and line it instead. And then just have this in the corners. Like that. Alright, I think this could work. Let's try this. Alright, so this is what we have for the ceiling. I think it works just fine. Simple design. And honestly, I'd rather just keep this area open. I don't feel the need to coordinate it off into different rooms and whatnot. Alright, so this is the extent of what I want to do with the interior. This building, like most of the pictures we have, the reference that we're using, the picture, does not show any interior, so it's really up to us what we want to do. And these buildings are not for me to personally live in, so I'm not going to put in the effort to really decorate them yet. Maybe in other videos we'll make more interesting designs, but for now, this is just kind of an idea of what you might want to do if you were to make a house like this. So you have these 3 rooms here, the upper level here, that's kind of a dark spot there, doesn't matter. And here's the final result. I think this came out super well, all things considered. It's really, really close to the reference point that we used. I really like all the little details that came out, especially like the ones I didn't think would quite work out, but even the small details, just like the black border on the bottom with the shrubs, the statues, the columns. I think it all came out really well. I'm super excited for it. And this will wrap up our first episode of Architectural Adventures with Reverb. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye!